Hi, friends. So we've been learning about religion. We've defined it. We've explored different religions around the world. We haven't explored all of them, but we've explored quite a few. And one of the questions that we were asking is religion a centrifugal force or a centripetal force? Does it pull people apart or does it bring people together? In the process of exploring that question, we also were learning about the skill of respectful dialogue, which is actually a 21st century skill that is required of you to be good at in order to engage in civic life, as well as to be successful in any career and in any job that you have following your education. So a question that I would ask is why, other than the fact, like why is it that we need to be able to dialogue respectfully, even though we come from different backgrounds or have different political opinions or have different positionalities with regard to our ethnicity, our religion, our race, our gender, our socioeconomic status or wealth. So one of the things I'd like to point out is that Illinois high school students, this is research that was done by the McCormick Foundation, which supports some of the curriculum that we have in civics here at St. Charles East. One of the things they found out is that Illinois graduates, and this is the people between the ages of 18 and 29, are less likely to vote in local elections. They're less likely to work within their communities to solve problems, and they're less likely to speak to or exchange favors with their neighbors. And this is the rankings that you see, number 47, 48, and 45 are out of the 50 states and Washington, D.C. So what does this say about us as Illinois graduates? What does this say about the education that we're getting and how we're being prepared to engage in civic dialogue and to be around other people who might be different from us? Here's another slide that has some interesting information, and I'm going to move this out of the way. These are states with least and most confidence in their state government. So in each state that you see listed here, the question is, do you have confidence in each of the following or not? And how about your state government in general? So this is a survey that was conducted, and of the people who reported, you can see the percentages of them that reported that they were confident in their government, of their state government, or that they were not confident in their state government. Now, we're not talking about the United States government. We're talking specifically about like Illinois government. So take a look at the low percentage of confidence that you see in Illinois and the high percentage of not confident that you see in Illinois, and look at it compared to other states. So the states that you see underneath Illinois are those that are also like the least confident in their state government. But what you can see is ours is really like there's a gap between ours and the next lowest, which is Rhode Island. Okay. All right. And if you're interested in looking at what states were the most confident, you can see that too. So this is kind of like the information you see in this chart is kind of like duh. But at the same time, what's important is to see that there is a pulling apart in our culture, that we are seeing there is a centrifugal situation happening in our state, in Illinois. So what you see is that people who are Democrats, the percentage of them that have mostly liberal beliefs is really, really high. And then what you see on the other side of Republicans, they have mostly conservative beliefs. Now, in this class, we haven't really talked about the difference between liberal and conservative, but suffice it to say, they tend to be on different ends of the spectrum. And what you're seeing here is extremism. So when you are a Democrat, you are mostly going to vote for liberal policies. And if you are Republican, you don't even want to hear the liberal policies. You are mostly going to stick to conservative policies. So this information just shows how pulled apart we are as a culture, and that we're not coming together to really understand each other or have to really kind of see what our common ground is. This is something you guys are familiar with, and we've used this over and over and over again, and it's important to continue to use it even though I haven't really given it to you guys recently. But looking at sources and understanding that they all have biases, unless they are at the very, very top in that circle where you see there are some sources that don't lean left and don't lean right. They're actually just presenting factual information. But it's very important to see this because so many people who around us that we have in our family, that we live near, that we talk to on a regular basis, use sources or look at sources that are on extreme sides. So if you are a Republican, you are likely to only look at information that agrees with you, that's on the right side of this chart. And if you are a Democrat, you are more likely to just want to see the things that you agree with. So the beginning of this school year, we talked about the whole concept of cognitive dissonance, that we will stick to and believe what already agrees with us naturally, and that it is very hard to accept factual information that doesn't agree with us. So all of this is to say, what can we do? What can we develop as ninth graders, almost 10th graders, to be better at this, to actually work towards developing the kinds of skills that will help us to be more successful as a society and help our state to not have such poor statistics. Okay? And this is just to show over time how divided, how centrifugal things have become. Okay? So starting in 1994, you can see that more people were in the middle, and then you can see that it starts to pull apart in terms of their consistent holding on to their side. Okay? By 2014, we can see it's really, really centrifugal. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work on this skill. I'm going to give you guys a checklist to have you start to see some of the things that we can be working on to be more respectful in our dialogue and to work on kind of coming together. Now, coming together doesn't mean we agree. It means that we can engage with each other to understand each other better, as opposed to not even want to be exposed to the other person's opinion because we already know it's different. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a checklist. You are going to see me and another faculty member, a colleague who's actually an administrator in D303, engage in a conversation about something we disagree on. And you are going to look for some of these elements of respectful dialogue to help you to identify what's happening in this dialogue. Are there some things that Mr. Shazar and I do that help us to do better at being respectful? Are there things that we're missing on this checklist? So I encourage you guys to watch and listen and engage.